Yeah. Yeah, they call me soft, say I'm hiding in the shade. Walls up high, no charge, no parade. But every king who rushed the gate got A, left in pieces, pride on the plate. I'm truverack, foundation deep. John new storm coming, I don't even sleep. They raid the edges, think they own the sweep, but I play possum, let them think it's cheap. Fake the fade, drop the gold, leave the loot in the dirt. Let greed do the work, make the ego hurt. Chief see weakness, cross that line with the nerve. Big army marching, yo, that's when I swerve. Hidden divisions, silent like the grave. Flanks close in, turn the hunter to the prey. Surround sound, no escape, no save. 100,000 riders, sent straight to the wave. They call it cowardice, I call it chess. One move, patient beat, they whole mess. Crowned out, it pull me, then beg me back. Now the border quiet, respect intact. I'm light as a rock, never shift, never fold. Strategy colder than the northern cold. They flash and crash, I stand and hold. Legend carved in stone, story told. So when they doubt your calm, call your stillness weak. Remember this general, let the doubters speak. Real power, don't scream, don't flex, don't peek. It weighs like a mountain and buries them deep. Truverack, unmovable, eternal. Word is bond, yeah, that's how we do it. Yeah, they call me soft, say I'm hiding in the shade. Word is bond, yeah, that's how we do it.
In certain situations, you may need to give up short-term goals to achieve your long-term aspirations. This is known as the scapegoat strategy, where one person bears the burden so that others can benefit. In chess, there's a common expression, sacrificing a pawn to save a rook. This phrase describes a sacrifice, which is a move where a player gives up a piece in hopes of achieving tactical or positional advantages. A sacrifice doesn't necessarily mean trading a lesser piece for a greater one. It can also involve the intentional exchange of a higher value piece for an opponent's lower value piece. Any chess piece apart from the king can be sacrificed. Since players usually aim to keep their own pieces, presenting a sacrifice can catch an opponent off guard, disrupting their focus and leading to wasted time as they ponder the validity of the sacrifice and whether to accept it. Sacrificing one's queen, the most valuable piece, serves as the ultimate tactic to create confusion and anxiety for the opposing player. China's approach to Hong Kong, around 2019-2021 and ongoing. In light of massive pro-democracy demonstrations and international disapproval, Beijing enacted the national security law in 2020, tightening its control over Hong Kong. This decision effectively sacrificed Hong Kong's special status as a semi-autonomous financial hub with Western-style freedoms, the Plum Tree, jeopardizing its economy, foreign investments, and global reputation, to maintain the overarching authority and stability of the Chinese Communist Party regime, and to prevent similar unrest from spreading to the mainland, the Peach Tree. Analysts interpreted this as Beijing accepting the diplomatic fallout and economic costs in Hong Kong to secure long-term political control and prioritize larger issues like Taiwan. Corporate product launch strategies, common in business, e.g., ongoing in tech and e-commerce. A lot of companies intentionally take big hits on their profits, or even go into the red in the early phases, or in certain markets just to grab market share and establish their presence. Take Amazon and other e-commerce powerhouses, for example. They used to sell items at a loss or pour tons of money into their infrastructure, giving up short-term gains, the Plum Tree, to gain dominance, build customer loyalty, and gather data advantages, which helps them maintain control over their ecosystem and secure future high-margin profits, the Peach Tree. This trend is still going strong today, as they aggressively expand into new areas like cloud computing and streaming, where those initial sacrifices help them lock in lasting competitive advantages. Scapegoating or leadership changes in crises, e.g., corporate political, seen in various recent scandals. When public or internal pressure builds up, for instance, during scandals, poor performance, or regulatory challenges, organizations frequently sacrifice a single executive, division, or minor asset as a scapegoat to shield the core leadership or main operations. A modern example of this is when CEOs or prominent figures are forced out or blamed, the Plum Tree, to absorb the backlash, allowing the company or institution to stabilize its reputation, avoid deeper investigations, and maintain overall viability, the Peach Tree. This tactic has been observed in numerous corporate governance cases and political damage control efforts in the last decade, where short-term accountability for one party protects the larger entity. Algorithm applies sacrifice Plum to save Peach against disinformation. Identify the battlefield and the real stakes. Clearly define what is the main peach tree you must preserve at all costs. Examples: overall institutional credibility, trust in election integrity, public health guidance during a crisis, national security classification, core factual timeline of an event. What are the Plum Tree's expendable assets? Examples: one social media account, a single spokesperson's minor misstatement, a peripheral claim that is hard to defend, low traffic content, an allied influencer who is vulnerable, a specific post date that can be conceded without collapsing the bigger picture. Spot the disinformation attack angle. Watch for the amplification of your vulnerabilities, efforts to connect minor errors to the peach tree, cherry-picking quotes taken out of context, or luring you into over-defending small points, which can deplete resources and hurt your credibility. Make the call to sacrifice threshold check. Ask yourself, is holding onto this valuable element going to take more in terms of attention, trust, time, or escalation than just letting it go? Will giving it up noticeably ease the strain on the peach tree? Can we present the sacrifice in a straightforward and timely manner to prevent any appearance of evasion? If you can answer yes to at least two of these questions, go ahead and sacrifice. If not, revert to the usual fact-checking or amplification defense. Execute the controlled sacrifice. Publicly and promptly. Or acknowledge the Plum weakness openly, e.g., we got this detail wrong, that account post was inaccurate, this claim was overstated. Be isolated, explicitly state it does not undermine the peach tree, e.g., this error does not change the established timeline fact XYZ, one bad post does not reflect our overall reporting. C. Remove amend distance from the Plum element quickly, delete, correct, suspend account, retract quote. D. Pivot immediately to reinforce the peach tree with high signal evidence, primary sources, multiple confirmations, authoritative restatements. Boost the pivot and encourage the opponent to stretch themselves too thin. Drive the revised Peachtree story aggressively through all channels. Allow the disinformation players to waste their energy targeting the already lost Plum. They usually double down on the point they've conceded, which makes them seem obsessive or petty. Keep an eye on whether their audience begins to doubt their credibility because they're fixating on a now irrelevant or acknowledged lost topic. Evaluate and bolster the peach tree. After 24-72 hours, monitor the metrics. Is the trust in the main message still intact or has it bounced back? Has the spread of misinformation decreased regarding the peach? If it worked, subtly enhance protections around any remaining Plum-like weaknesses. If it's only partially successful, reconsider if a larger sacrifice, like completely changing the spokesperson, is necessary now. Examples. First off, let's talk about the bird flu H5N1 response back in 2025. There was a ton of disinformation flying around online, claiming that bird flu vaccines, like audits or the new mRNA ones, were lethal, all based on twisted 2021 trial data where some rare deaths happened but had nothing to do with the vaccine. Skeptics jumped on this, tying it into the larger COVID scam conspiracy theories, which really hurt trust in health agencies. Now, using the algorithm, think of the peach tree as the overall confidence in public health measures and vaccine development for new threats. The Plum Tree represents the specific misinterpretation of the audits trial or an early exaggerated claim about preparedness. Authorities like HHS or CDC could take a hit by admitting early trial data showed unrelated deaths that are typical of general mortality rates. As confirmed in reviews, there's no causal link here, and they should retract or clarify any vague early messages. They need to isolate it by saying, this doesn't change current safety data or the need for preparedness. Then shift focus to strengthen the peach tree with solid sources like FDA reviews and consensus science, and finally, push out updated messaging. This way it cuts off the endless vaccine kills narratives, allowing opponents to focus on the conceded point while maintaining trust in the main avian flu response. Next, let's talk about the wildfire misinformation in Los Angeles in 2025. Conspiracy theories exploded, blaming minorities, directed energy weapons, or geoengineering, which was recycled from Maui. Some officials were slow to send out alerts in certain neighborhoods, which only added to the distrust. Disinformation acts as targeted specific groups to create division. Think of it this way, the peach tree represents public confidence in disaster response and accurate climate ignition facts. The plum tree symbolizes a minor delay in initial alerts or a vague rumor about early arson that hasn't been proven. Response teams have to quickly admit, evacuation alerts in some areas were delayed due to the rapid spread, lessons learned for the future, while also clarifying, this does not indicate intentional targeting or change the findings of the arson investigation regarding natural or human causes. It's it's important to remove or clarify any ambiguous statements and focus on solid evidence like official timelines and investigations. This way, we take away the conspiracists' ability to manipulate the narrative, shifting the focus back to recovery and maintaining trust in the system. Lastly, as we gear up for the 2026 midterm elections, there's been a notable rise in AI-generated misinformation, including deepfakes and false claims about voter rolls or candidate connections, such as the recycled absentee ballot rumors from previous cycles. Some candidates or officials have faced pressure to overly defend minor details. The overarching goal should be election integrity and voter confidence. A minor inaccuracy in early turnout data or a low-impact staff position can be compared to a peach tree. Election authorities often have to make sacrifices by acknowledging one preliminary report had a minor discrepancy in registration figures, corrected immediately with no material impact. They should isolate the issue, audits confirm zero effect on outcomes, retract the mistake promptly, and reinforce it with primary sources like verified audits. This allows misinformation to stretch itself thin on the admitted point, making it appear obsessive, while the momentum shifts away from attacking core processes, thereby safeguarding long-term trust in the electoral system. Surprise your opponent by making an unexpected sacrifice that they might not be able to refuse, allowing you to gain some other advantage for yourself. To really get ahead, give your opponent a little info about one of your allies that they can use to their advantage. Naturally, once you've earned their trust, you can turn the tables and make your own gain when they least expect it. The strategy known as sacrifice plum to save peach is all about letting go of a small, short-term asset, the plum, to protect something really important in the long run, the peach. In chess, it's like giving up a pawn to save a rook or a queen. When it comes to geopolitics, China gave up Hong Kong's special status to keep political stability in the mainland. In the business world, companies like Amazon might take short-term losses to secure long-term market power. During crises, organizations might blame a single leader to protect the main institution. To counter disinformation, you need to pinpoint your peach, core credibility, and your plum, a minor mistake or weak claim. If that mistake is damaging your main goal, you should admit it and set it aside, then steer the conversation back to the core facts. This way, your opponents waste their energy attacking a point you've already given up, making them seem obsessive while you protect your overall reputation and keep your eyes on the bigger picture.